Hello everyone, and we're back again for the second race of the night, TGV1 Season 38, round 14, round the circuit Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. We had some technical difficulties, unfortunately, so that's why there is a separate stream. Apologies for that, but we're back here with the final few minutes of qualifying here in Belgium. We're joined by Jack Craig again in the comm box still, and a new guest as well, Dom Smith. Welcome to the comms box for the tonight.
Yeah, hey Owen, thank you. Good to be here. Looking forward to this race. We've got the title fight between Jack and Kieran now at 7 points, so it's still kind of staying within that 10-point margin, isn't it? So looking forward to this one. Looking forward to being alongside both of you. It's going to be an interesting race, that's for sure. Yeah,
so we just got Kieran coming towards the end of the lap. So Jack, he's doing all right in the championship, second in championship, but let's see him through these final couple of corners.
Here comes Kai on the run-up. Will he get anywhere near that pole time? Not quite. He's into P8, the Alpine driver. He's going to be hoping for a better qualifying than he did in Hungary. He's around about the same pace in order of position. Confessor, obviously, he was on in P2 in the front row. Will he be improving this time around to get up from P9? He's not going to be happy with that after winning last time out at the Hungaro Ring, the Mercedes man. Just on that final 2 times up, so it's improvement at the moment as Jack Hickey sets the provisional pole time. He'll be happy with that, finally back up after going only 1 win in the last 8 races for the Red Bull.
Yeah, so we've got Glock coming through the second sector. He's a 10.5 up as well, so that'll be very interesting to see where he goes to Jack Hickman, Dom.
Yeah, it should be interesting. We've got Dunnerman also improving. He's down in 6th at the moment, but could go right to the front with this lap time. He crosses the line and goes second, just a 10th off Jack Hickey. So we keep an eye now on Jack Hickey and Glock. Glock himself is coming around the final corner. Can he find an improvement on his 1:43.5 at the moment? He's had a very good qualifying the last few rounds, and he goes quicker so far. 1:43.2, the new benchmark in this qualifying session.
Yeah, we've got Corey coming into the bus stop in the Aston Martin as well. He's going to go for that lap. He's just got the DRS to go, and what's he going to do coming across the line? Is Corey going to improve and go anywhere near? Yes, he does. He goes to second with a 43.4. So that's a very strong lap from Corey. So Corey, once again, showing the same sort of pace he had in Hungary, Jack.
Yeah, it's looking good from the Aston tonight. He's got back on the pace after a couple of bad weeks. He's finally getting back to where he belongs. Obviously a former TGV1 champion. Just trying to get back to the pits as he cuts the corner a wee bit there. Is anybody else currently on a lap? I do not believe so.
Let's see. Have a look at Court. He looks like he might be on a lap. There's a bit of a slide. No, he's not on a lap. I think they're all on in laps at the moment. Maybe Jovial Mancy's on a flying lap. No, he's low on fuel actually. So I think he's coming to. We're coming into a bit of a lull in the session here, boys.
Alistair on a lap coming up the hill towards the Kemmel Street. He'll open up that DRS on that Alfa Romeo. Trying to get. He's not set a lap time down in P16. The Baku Grand Prix winner a few weeks ago. He'll be looking to get back in to some top points. It's been a disappointing race at Hungary. Obviously stuck behind Aiden. No emotion stuck behind that brute of a boy. Can Alistair though get into the top 10 this time around in Spa? It's looking good so far. I'm not quite sure what his sector 1 lap time was. Yellow flag in sector 3, people just moving out of the way, but everyone in the pits or on out laps at the moment. Only Alistair on the... Did he invalidate going wide then?
No, he didn't invalidate that lap, so he's coming towards the end of sector 2. We've not really got any reference for Alistair, unfortunately, so just have to hope his lap goes well, and we'll find out when at the end where he actually pops himself into. But Alistair, the only driver on a lap at the moment, Dom.
Yeah, both attempts so far have been pretty poor, invalidated both of them. This lap's not looking too great either. The first sector is reasonable, second sector not as strong as his previous second best sector. But let's see where he can go. As you said, no reference point really for the Alfa Romeo man. Let's see if he can get himself inside that top 10. Not the best race. He finished, I think it was 14th at Hungary in the end with a late incident with the Glock. But around the final couple of corners, can Alistair get himself inside that top 10? It's not been the best lap, but he crosses the line now and goes up to 7th. So he found a lot of time then in that third sector.
Yeah, unfortunately he's not going to have time to go for another run in this session. There's just not enough time left for him to do that. So the drivers who haven't set a lap time yet, like Wet Levens, Cam and Mr. Chiapelli, all on out laps currently, going to be the first ones to set flying laps towards the end of this session, Jack.
Yep, here comes Cam. Obviously he won a Grand Prix earlier on in the season after struggling a wee bit. He's going to hope to get up the order. Obviously he had some pace in Hungary. I think it was P4 before his grid penalty, obviously having a collision with Aiden. but can Cam now set the charge and lead the pace? Can he get on provisional pole before the main runners get their final laps underway? It's coming up now to the first Sector 1 split, and it's a 21.8, so he's faster than Alistair, who's in P7, so it could be a good lap here from Cam.
Yeah, he'll be looking to do that. He had decent pace in Hungary and he's looking to improve on that. Unfortunately, we've got no split times to gauge on again with Cam since he hasn't set a lap time in this session yet, Dom.
Yeah, and with only 1 minute 45 to go, a lot of drivers now in that first sector, very close to one another. They're going to have to back off shortly, try and get some gaps, but that's going to leave those at the back with not a lot of time to get to the line in time. New Zealand Cam looking pretty good around Puon. We saw a few great lines through here last season, didn't we? A few seasons before that, we saw Phil Bardwell and Fishy have that famous incident that pretty much ruled Fishy out of the title race. But Cam now needs to set a lap. The pressure is well and truly on, because this will probably be his last attempt. His tires will be quite worn if he goes for another run after this, but the time is there. It's a purple middle sector. Whether or not that is purple against those ahead, we don't know. It normally is a purple sector on these games in the second sector, but it's looking good so far, Owen.
Yeah, it's definitely looking good so far. Heading towards Blanchimont now here in this session. There's about, a minute to go, and those towards the back are going to be really struggling to get there across the line in time, aren't they, Dom?
Yeah, it's going to be really tight. We'll have to see what happens. Luca's not going to make it. He's retired. He's given up. He knows he's not going to make it to the line. Cam, though, crosses the line. Where can he go? It's quicker. It's a 1:43.0, 2 tenths quicker than anyone else, and that's a very good lap from him.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jack Hickey is looking championship leader to improve on his lap time currently at 43.4. He needs to find, 4 tenths of a second to put himself on pole position. And Jack Hickey, in the Red Bull championship leader, is looking to improve on that. He's going to be the first driver to set his final flying lap. And he's got himself out of the pits nice and early. He's down a little bit in that first sector though, Jack.
Yeah, he's not looking too good at the moment. He's going to want to be improving, because he does not want to be stuck behind guys and get caught in a DRS chain if he can't get the moves done early. It'll be interesting to see whether guys choose the softs or the mediums to start on this Grand Prix. But here comes the championship leader. Can he get this lap perfect like Cam did? He got that sector 3 spot on to get pole position. Can he close that gap? It's around 4 tenths he needs to improve on to get anywhere near that pole position. And obviously it'll be interesting to see where he is in comparison to Kieran as well. Obviously he's down in P10, so it's not looking good as he comes round. He has a wee bit of a moment there, and that could be pole position gone for the Red Bull man.
Yeah, that is the worst place you could have had a moment like that. Yes, he's nearly 2 tenths up on his previous best, but that's going to ruin his run all the way through this section, through the second Stavlo. Blanchimont now, and he's just got the bus stop chicane to go. So he's affected his run, and how much time is that going to cost him in this session? Just got the bus stop left for the Red Bull driver. He's going to come across the line. What's his lap time going to be? Is he going to improve? He improves, but not by much. He's only got up to P3. Who's the next driver to come across the line? I think it's... who is the next driver to come across the line? I think it's one of the Ferrari. It's caught. Yeah, it's caught the next driver to come across the line. Where's he going to go? He only goes P10. Try and look. Dan the man's lap's done. Corey coming through Blanchimont. Glock, where is he? He's invalidated. So it's only Corey really left of the top contenders. Yeah, Kieran's had a mare as well. So he's down in 13th. That's a disaster for the championship second place man. Only Corey left on a flying lap. What's he going to do? He's going to come across the line and he goes second. So it looks like Cam is going to secure pole position here at Spa. Corey's going to start second and Glock in third, Dom.
Wow, that was interesting, wasn't it? Cam takes his 4th career pole position. Corey couldn't quite get to the top with that time, but I said it was going to be tight. Dan the man only just made it across the line to start his lap time with about 2 seconds to spare. Aiden did not make it, so he was kind of misjudged the time at the end. But yeah, Dan the man didn't matter anyway. He spun at Puon. Kieran, the championship contender to Jack Hickey, starting well down the grid, outside the top 10, didn't get a good lap in, and that's a huge shock here. He's down in 14th, a second off the pace of Cam.
Yeah, we'll be hoping for a drive like he had in Hungary and maybe try an alternate strategy. But Cam will start this race on pole position. No penalties this time round for the McLaren driver. Corey will line up alongside him in the Aston Martin on the front row. Then we've got Glock, Jack Hickey, Dan the man rounding out the top 5. Then we've got Jovial Mancy, Matt Tibos, good qualifying from him. Phil Bardrow in 8th, then we've got Aiden in 9th, and the Confessor, race winner in Hungary, down in 10th position. Alistair in 11th, CJH in 12th, Court in 13th, and we've got Kieran in 14th, Jack Pearson in 15th, Mr. Chiapelli in 16th, and Wet Lemons rounding out the field. So, What are your thoughts going into this race? We've heard from the drivers it's going to be a dry race here at Belgium. So what are your thoughts and what do you think is going to happen?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, it's a dry race, so the guys are going to be having to make that pit stop. Obviously, 11 laps. If it was on the wet tyres, you probably wouldn't need to stop. But it'll be interesting to see what Kieran can do back in the grid. His teammate Phil had a wee spin in front of him, and that caused Kieran to spin. So the Alpines causing each other some damage. But it's all down to Cam's start, isn't it? He's going to be probably on them softs and wanting to get away instantly, to get away from Jack Hickey and Corey. Corey obviously had the pace at Hungary, but he just couldn't close the gap to the Confessor. It'll be interesting to see if Corey can get the race win this time.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Dom? Quickly, we've got about 10 seconds to go.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how this one develops. Watch out for Jovial Manatee. He gets great starts. We've seen the last 2 races. He's gained like 5 or 6 places off the line. This is going to be a fascinating one.
It is indeed. So the drivers are getting ready to go for round 14 of the season at Spa-Francorchamps. So the lights coming on. We've got 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights on here in Belgium. And the lights go out and away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix. Cam's had a very good start from the front. Corey's had a decent start. Jovial Manatee once again looking to the outside, flinging it round the outside. And he gets round. Corey keeps it in the lead. Cam in second, losing out on pole position actually. Corey's done him on the start. Jovial Manatee up into third. Glock in fourth. Phil Bardrell fifth as they go through Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time in this race. All the drivers have been complaining the car's on a bit of a knife edge in this race, and Court Gill is the one to have an issue with that as he spins at the top of Radion. That is him in the tyres. No safety car, unfortunately, in TGP1. So that means that no drivers are going to bunch up, but the drivers don't need bunching up as it stands. As I see Corey maintain the lead, Cam in second, Jovial Manatee in third, and the drivers are pretty much line astern as they go through these first couple of corners. Back Tivos and Confessor side by side further back down the field, lads.
Yeah, this is great stuff, isn't it? Sorry, Jack.
Jack Hickey had an awful start. He's down 4 positions under so much pressure from Aiden, trying to cost his teammate some extra points in the championship. Kieran up into P11, but Jack Hickey should have had contact at the start. He's dropped down to 8th.
Yeah, meanwhile, just looking further down, Phil Bardrell had a little bit of a moment through Pouon. The Confessor tried to make a move on him, but couldn't quite make the move stick as we see them go through Stavelot for the first time in this race. And Glock is all over the back of Jovial Manatee. Why don't you check and tell me what tyres everyone's started on quickly?
Yeah, it's the top 4 on the mediums, then I think Phil down to about CJH all on the soft tyres. So the top 4 all crucially on those medium tyres. Going with that better strategy, but it's so close, isn't it, between everyone. Confessor trying to attack Phil Bardrell up the inside of the final bus stop chicane. Surely won't get it done there. They're side by side and Phil just about holds on to the place, but for how long?
Yeah, Phil looks like he's definitely struggling on this opening lap. He had a little bit of a moment through Pouon and he's had the Confessor all over him ever since that moment. Matt Timos had a strong qualifying and he's up in P7, and Kieran's made up a couple of places as there's a spin towards the back of the field. It's just as I was saying, Matt Timos was doing so well. He's down and out and had a little spin. So that's a bit of a disaster for him. And Kieran, though, mentioned him, he's second in the championship, made up 4 places on his starting position as it stands, and Matt Timos is out of this race.
Glock up to third, great move on Roy, got the extra speed, extra straight line, and through he goes. Now can start to chase down Cam and Corey, but title contenders Jack Hickey and Kieran are 7th and 9th. Those two have just been nowhere lately, yet they're so far ahead of anyone else in the championship they can afford to finish 7th and 9th every race. Fascinating stuff. Lots of battles going on throughout the field. Yeah,
it just shows how competitive this field is. You could be battling for the title, but yet you've been down in 7th and 8th the last couple of races and having a bit of a mare today. But because that just shows how competitive this field is. Everyone's so close to each other that if you're slightly off your game, you could be in the mid-pack, can't you?
They've not made the mistakes that everyone else has made this season. That is why they're so far ahead. And the night they do make mistakes, everyone else seems to be capitalising on them. But Phil Bardwell is pushing Jovial Manatee through the second sector. Can he make the move? Jovial Manatee has a lot more of the battery left to go on the AlphaTauri. Is pulling away, so it doesn't look like Phil's going to be close enough on this lap to make it. But the Confessor, he's keeping up with these guys, trying to get P4.
He is indeed. Confessor, the winner last time out in Hungary, his first victory in 4 years since season 29, and he's looking maybe to get some more. There's early pit stops as the Confessor and Jack Hickman have come into the pits very early there, Dom.
Yeah, it's Kieran who in recent races has kind of pulled the trigger early and pitted in the first couple of laps. This time it's Jack Hickey, his title rifle, maybe seeing what his opponent's been doing and gone for the same thing himself. He pits early, no damage, just an early stop onto the medium tyres for him. But yeah, fascinating to see how this one develops. And Corey, as things stand, will become the 8th different winner in the first 14 rounds.
Yeah, so it's like we're just saying how competitive this field is, as Jack Pearson has picked up a time penalty and water is also wet, boys.
He's actually under pressure as well from Mr. Giapelli, the McLaren on the Mercedes. He goes to the inside, Mr. Giapelli, to try and make the move. Jack Pearson so late on the brakes, trying to defend the position, and it looks they're still side by side. Look at doing everything he can to get P9, and he gets the move done.
Meanwhile, Phil Bardrell all over the back of the AlphaTauri in the battle for 4th and 5th, and Kieran's making his way nicely up the field as well. He's all over the back of Aiden, so plenty of battles going on down the field, boys.
Yeah, and Jack Hickey, of course, pitted for clean air, hasn't come out in clean air. Odems went for the same tactic, and Odems is now going to hold up Hickey as they both try to attack those that are yet to pit. But yeah, Kieran needs to work quickly now to try and get clear of Aiden, because Jack Hickey is flying. And Phil, though, unfortunately for Aiden, is right in front of him, and he is stuck behind Jovial Manatee.
Yeah, he is. He's getting closer and closer to the back of him, Phil Bardrell, but I think Jovial Manatee might have some straight line speed on him. Mr. Giapelli picking up a 3-second time penalty as well, so evens down in that battle for 9th and 10th as we see Phil Bardrell. Yeah, he's definitely losing out in the straight line. I wonder if Jovial Manatee was using a bit of hers there.
Well, Phil doing everything he can to make that move. He needs to make it quick. He's on the soft compared to Jovial Manatee on the medium compounded tyre. Can the Alpine get past the AlphaTauri with the DRS this time around? It's looking good so far though from Corey up in the lead of the Grand Prix. That's what he needed to do. He needed to get the move on Cam nice and early and try and extend as much as possible could. But here comes Phil. This time around he'll open the DRS in a couple of meters. He's using that battery when he wants to try and make that move on the AlphaTauri. He needs to get the move done before the pit stops. You don't want to be behind someone who's on fresh softs after the pits.
No, you definitely don't. He's on the soft tyres at the moment. There is a little bit of a train for him behind Jovial Manatee, isn't there, Dom?
Yeah, there is. Manatee's known for these kind of trains, and you can see right behind him there's Bargewell, Aidan Griffins, Kieran, CJH, and crucially there, it's Kieran. The title contender is stuck. We've got a yellow flag further back. Looks like a spin for Mr. Chiapelli, maybe. Yeah, indeed it is. He's now down to 11th. He had gained the most places off the line, but now that becomes Kieran, who's 7th, and just is stuck behind this duo with Aidan and Phil, who themselves are stuck behind Roy.
Yeah, an interesting thing to note. It's getting close up the front as Cam is closing in on Corey. It's down to 6/10 that gap. So maybe the tyres starting to come into effect, or maybe Cam's just maybe saving those tyres a little bit at the start of this race.
Kieran now is closing up the gap to Aidan. Aidan obviously started on the soft tyre, so he's going to have to pit. Probably this lap he's going to pit to try and get the undercut on Phil, who's obviously going to have to pit as well sooner rather than later, as he can't get past Jovial Manatee. The DRS just helping everyone stay close but not making any moves at the moment. Will anyone peel into the pits this time around? They don't. Cam's lost a couple of attempts to Corey up the front as well.
Yeah, he has indeed. So Cam's just about within the second. He's just about keeping in that DRS but not really getting close enough. Meanwhile, this scrap that's forming from 4th down to about 8th place is getting tighter and tighter, and the DRS is definitely going to come into effect. Aidan looks really feisty on the back of Phil Bardrell in the Red Bull. Phil Bardrell is going to have the DRS off the back of Jovial Manatee, so it'll be interesting to see how much ERS and everything is used down this straight. They're closing on the back of Jovial Manatee, but neither of them quite make a move into Le Combe.
And Jack Hickey's going to be attacking Odems here. McLaren of Mr. Chiapelli is straight in front of these two, and Jack Hickey with a 3-second penalty. How crucial will that be come the end of the race? Luca defending, but Odems should smooth past here. The Confessor will take the race in line and go ahead. And will Jack Hickey get through as well? Yes, he will. Mr. Chiapelli doesn't fight that too hard, but Jack Hickey crucially with a time penalty.
Yeah, that is crucial for Jack Hickey. I think he did it at the top of Radion as well, so it's quite an easy place to do it. Mr. Chiapelli picking up another time penalty as well, and Phil Bardrell's now picked up a time penalty as well, which could be crucial for him, just seeing how close that battle is currently, Jack.
Yeah, what a nightmare for Phil. He just ran a wee bit wide on the exit of Phil, and they're not what you need. Kieran, though, he's on the back of these guys. He is desperate for these guys to pull into the pits. Some fresh air. start making that a bit bigger. He's had a wee moment there.
Yeah, that's what I was making that noise about. He had a wee moment coming through the second Stavilo, and now Aiden again, all over the back of him. He's all over the grass. Phil Bardrell's all out of sorts after that little slide through Stavilo. Is Aiden going to make a move? No, Phil's just completely missed the corner, and Aiden's dived to the pit lane. Has Phil Bardrell dived in as well? I don't think he was able to get to the pit lane there because he brakes so late.
Will Kieran be allowed through on Phil Bardwell here? Maybe he'll just wait till after Rouge and Radion. Maybe Phil will give his teammate the benefit of the DRS, because he can't really be holding up his teammate up here. Of course, Alpine are fighting Red Bull 2 in the Constructors, and both Red Bulls are kind of quite far down at the moment. But of course, they have just both made their stops. Aiden is now, in fact, going to come out ahead, I think, of Mr. Giapelli, who pitted earlier. But yeah, Jack Hickey needs to clear Odems here, and it's getting closer and closer.
Well, meanwhile, looking at where they've come out just behind that battle between Confessor and the... Confessor and... Oh, God, my brain has just gone...
Phil spun. He was attacking Kieran. He didn't make it easy for him. Kieran did get through, but Phil spun. Maybe trying to battle back. Shouldn't just let him go. And yeah, Phil's round. Drink.
Thank you. Thank you for saving me from that brain fart I was having as well as we go through those couple of corners. So Phil has dropped a position. Not really playing fairly with his Alpine teammate, but Kieran has got the position anyway, up into P5, and now looking to the back of Jovial Manti, both on the medium tyres, these drivers, and Kieran's made his way very nicely through this field.
Absolutely, he's steamrolled the field at the moment. Obviously, people have box. It's going to be interesting to see what lap these guys, him and Joe, are going to pit, and obviously the leaders as well, to go onto the soft tyres. See how far they drop. He's struggling around that corner, isn't he?
Yeah, well, that's the other Alpine this time. It was Phil Bardrell last lap. It was Kieran this lap. So both drivers really struggling with those rear tyres coming through the second Stavilo corner, aren't they, Dom?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think someone's going to crash there at some point soon. Corey's made his first stop then in this race. Only 4 laps to go. This race is flying by. Campbell trying to do 1 lap longer, as will block, but Corey needs to come out and clean air, as will Kieran.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We're going to ride on board with the Confessor. He's the lead of the battles that has pitted, so it'll be interesting to see. He's got Jack Hickman and Aiden all over the back of him as well. So the Confessor making his way down the main straight. Let's see where these guys all filter out. Confessor heading through La Source now. Where is the guys? I think they're going to be ahead of Kieran. Yes, they are. They're comfortably ahead of Kieran. Kieran's got a bit of a gap, but he is on those soft tyres, Jack.
Yeah, and he's actually lost. He's side by side with CJH up the hill to the Camel Street. Is any of them going to back out? They don't, and CJH keeps the position, saying, I know you're a championship contender, but I'm not giving you any easy moves. Can he keep it though down the back straight? No, it's looking like the Alpine is going to go round the outside, and he makes the move. But he didn't make it easy for him there, did he?
No, he definitely didn't make it easy for him. They were side by side up over Rouge and Radion. Not a place you often see people going side by side through, but they just about made it work between the two drivers. Phil Bardrell is out of the race. He's had an accident at the top of Radion, and that's a bit of a disaster for him. But it'll be interesting to see what Kieran could do on these soft tyres come the end of this race. But this battle is definitely forming behind the Confessor.
Yeah, Phil lost it at Radion. He's the 4th driver to lose it there after Alistair, Matt and Cole. And yeah, we've got really interesting battles here. The top 3, of course, still yet to pit in this race. The Confessor's not really closing on Corey ahead. He's now got Jack Hickey and Aiden, both Red Bulls, right behind. And interesting to see what happens at the end of the race. Aiden is, of course, behind Jack Hickey, and both have made stops. But will Aiden back off 3 seconds at the end to give his teammate extra points in this title battle? Or will he choose not to and try and get a better result himself? As now Aiden, in fact, is going through on Jack Hickey.
I think Jack Hickey's let him through there. I think he knows he's ahead of Kieran on the road as it stands. I think the best way to keep those 3 seconds, he's decided, is, you know what, let's follow my teammate, let him drag me along with the DRS and see what happens at the end of the race.
It's a risky one. He's on them fresh softs, and he's only 2.2 behind Jack Hickey. So this is risky from the Red Bull guys. They're going to have to get this spot on. Maybe he's just hoping Aiden can drag him along with the DRS. You might actually want to make a move again on Aiden Griffiths, because he's not going to have enough time to stay in P6.
Meanwhile, Kieran has overtaken Jovial Manti in the rounds of pit stops, so Jovial Manti is dropped back, but he is going to have a lap fresher soft tyres towards the end of this race. But Jovial Manti no longer holding up Kieran, and Kieran running P7 on the road. I think everyone has made their stops now. I'm just going to have a quick look. And yes, everyone has made their stops in this race now.
Oh, Aiden's round. He was starting to attack the Confessor in front, but he's lost it all. He's no longer Jack's buffer to Kieran as well, even if they swap later on. Kieran's now just 1.5 seconds behind Hickey. I think Kieran's going to slice into Hickey's leading the championship here.
Yes, I think he will. It's currently 7 points the gap going into this race after the races in Hungary. And Kieran is going to, well, he's already within that 3-second margin thanks to Hickman's penalty. But now Kieran's going to try and have him on the road as well. And maybe try and get himself further up the road as the Confessor's only, a second and a half in front of him. And he's on the soft tyres, Dom.
Yeah, exactly. And crucially, Manatee's also going to be within that 3-second window of Jack Hickey, as may well CJH. So CJH has his own time penalty, so we'll keep an eye out for that. But he's going to be kicking himself, is Jack Hickey, for that earlier corner cutting penalty. We've got Cam still within a second of Corey, so the battle for the lead is not over yet, as Kieran now closes up on his title rival, and CJH himself closing on Jovial Manatee for 7th.
Yeah, it's all getting very tasty, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, Corey's just set the fastest lap with the Grand Prix, so like Dom, he's noticed that gap has come down. Both of the front runners running on around 10% ERS. Can Cam close that gap this lap even further than he already has? He's got it, he closed it about 7/10 in the last 2 laps. So Cam giving it everything he possibly can to beat Corey and get his second GP2 GP1 win this season. I think it'll be his 3rd all time.
Yeah, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see. When was the last... I'd like you to research this for me, Dom. Can you find out when the last wins for each of these drivers were, please?
Well, I mean, Cam won earlier in the season. Corey, you mean Corey and Cam? Corey's last win would have been 3 seasons ago, but look at the pressure that Cam is putting him under now. The gap's at 4 tenths, 3 tenths. It seems to be coming down and down. Corey looking for his first win in 3 seasons. Cam did win last week, so it wouldn't be his first in a while. But yeah, he's looking very racy against Corey here, with just 2.5 laps to go here at Spa.
Yeah, meanwhile, further back between the title contenders, Kieran is now within 2 tenths of the back of Jack Hickman as they go through Puon, aren't they, Jack?
Yep, he is pushing and pushing. He wants to overtake Jack Hickey on the road. He wants that bragging race right now. Can he get the move done? And I think Cam's had a moment because he's dropped back to 1.1 seconds. So he's maybe had a wee moment in the 3rd step. But can Kieran make that? Jack Hickey has a lot more battery in the back of that Red Bull power unit to keep ahead on the straight if he possibly can. But is that DRS and Slipstream going to be too much? Obviously, no DRS on this part. He's right at the back of him. He's pushing that Red Bull's gearbox.
He's going to look for a move into the bus stop, and he can't quite do it there, can he, Dom?
No, he's getting close, so close. Kieran needs to get through as soon as he can. Maybe he can start to attack the Confessor slightly ahead. There's still 2 more laps of this race to go. As you said, Jack, Cam had a little moment in that 3rd sector, just giving Corey a bit of breathing space. So that's allowed him now to kind of get back ahead of that second DRS window. But yeah, Kieran has Manatee about 1.5 seconds back, and he knows if he can pass Hickey, he can make sure Hickey doesn't pull that 3-second gap on Manatee. But let's see if this is another good chance for Kieran to get through on Hickey. DRS is in play, but there's not a lot of birds left for either driver, really. In fact, Hickey has 30% more, so that's 30% more than Kieran. Kieran looking for a move maybe here at the end of this Temple Straight. Not quite, but that's the closest it's been so far.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jack Pearson has picked up a warning. He's had a spin at the top of Radion there, so it's a bit more of a disaster for Jack Pearson, the other Mercedes driver. But this Jack Hickman defence on Kieran is meaning that Kieran's having his chances diminishing by the second on his chances of getting 4th place in this race.
He looks clear at the moment, the Confessor. He looks good for the 12 points tonight. Kieran, though, he's going to want to get this move done on the road. I think it's a done deal that Jovial Manatee will get Jack Hickey with the time penalty. This was a mistake. But Kieran obviously wanting to win on the road. Nobody wants to be ahead of someone on penalties. That's not the way you want to do it. You want to get the pride on you over your fellow competitor.
Oh no! He's had a spin! He's had a spin!
I don't believe it!
Kieran, we had that position in the bag. All he had to do was keep it on the road and he would have beat Jack Hickman. And he's had a spin going through the second Stavelot. We've seen him have a little wobble in that first stint on the medium tyres, same as his teammate Phil Bardrow on the other Alpine. They both had a little slide through there, but this slide has turned into a spin this time around for Kieran, and he's dropped well down the order. And that was his chance to make some inroads into his title rival. Completely gone there, Dom.
And look at the front, the gap's coming down. It's 7 tenths, it's 6 tenths. There's 1 lap to go here at Spa, and this race is far from over. Can Corey hold on, looking for his first win in 3 seasons? His gap is just less than half a second. But can he? Can he hold on? We saw Kieran looking easy for points gained on his title rival, and he lost it on the final lap. Now can Corey hold off and not make the same mistake that Kieran, the man so much further ahead in the championship, made the same mistake of? Jack Hickey can now start to breathe. He's got 2 seconds on Manatee. Can he in fact pull the gap now that Manatee's tyres are starting to wear? But yeah, now Dan the Man might pass Kieran, and yeah, time running out now for Cam, but he's got half a lap left to do something.
Yeah, he has. He's just going through pit and we're riding on board with the McLaren driver, and he's got a few more opportunities coming towards the Stavelot section of corners, just through this chicane now, coming up towards Stavelot. He's only got 1 sector left in this race, and the McLaren driver is trying his absolute hardest to get closer and closer to the back of Corey. He's going to try and use all the slipstream. He's going to use all the ERS that he's got left. I don't think he's got that much ERS left, but Corey is still just about hanging on. I think he's slightly pulling the gap as we head towards the bus stop for the final time in the race at the circuit Spa de Francorchamps. As we see Corey entering the bus stop for the final time. Cam, big lunge on the brakes, but can't quite get close enough. Corey is going to win the Belgium Grand Prix from Cam in second place. And then Glock is going to come home in third. But that was an enthralling race, boys. Dom, what did you think of that?
Wow, that was brilliant, wasn't it? I mean, it's still not over. Dan the Man's just passed Kieran on the road for P9. Can he pull the gap now to get clear of his rival? Confirmation that Hickey did finish P6, so he only scores 9 points for that position, but that's still a few more than Kieran's going to get. But what a race. Corey takes his first win in 3 seasons. He said recently he was looking for more wins and poles to try and move up the record standings here in TGP, and he's got his first win of the season. He becomes the 8th different winner of this season. We've still got 6 more rounds to go. This has been a thrilling campaign. And once again, the title contenders nowhere near the top 5 places, but they're still so much farther than anyone else because of their consistency.
Yeah, that is very important, their consistency, Jack, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how you win championships. It's loads of guys have the pace to win the title, but not everyone has that discipline to keep it on the road and between the white lines. Obviously, it's cost Jack Hickey today, but I'm sure in the last 6 races he will get back to near the top step of the podium. But Corey, what an excellent couple of weeks he's had. He was getting close to wins or close to podiums. He's finally managed to get it.
Yeah, he has indeed. Just waiting for the final car to come across the line now. Wet Lemons is a long way back, so we're going to be waiting a while for that one. But that was a thoroughly entertaining race, and TGP1 showing how it's done once again, putting on some exciting racing and drama until the end. Kieran comes home with a P9 finish in the end after all is said and done. So in an opportunity when he could have gained points on his championship rival, he's ended up losing a big chunk of them.
Yeah, I mean, the gap now after tonight is still at just 10 points. Still somehow the gap is 10 points between these two. It's been so close. It's not been bigger than 10 points in the last 6 races. It's somehow that tight. It's been so tight all season. It's been thrilling to watch. They've both got about 4 wins each this season. And yeah, with still 3 weeks to go, I honestly can't call it. It could very well be even, the two of them.
It could be very even indeed. But meanwhile, we see Corey stepping out onto the podium, taking victory here at Spa. Round number 14 of the season, ahead of Cam, and Glock finishing in 3rd place. Different look podium compared to what we've seen in previous races, and none of the championship contenders anywhere near the podium today, which was a bit of a surprise for all of us as we wait for the full results to come up on our screen. The champagne is flowing here in the Ardennes Forest, and we'll see those results now. So here are the results from that race. Corey picks up the victory for Aston Martin, with Cam coming home in 2nd place. Then we got Glock rounding out the podium. The Confessor, winner in Hungary, picks up a 4th place after starting P10 on the grid, so that's a decent drive for him. Then Jovial Manti picks up 5th place. Then we've got Jack Hickey, championship leader, actually extending his championship lead tonight after Kieran's spin towards the end. He comes home in 6th. CJH in 7th. Aiden in 8th. 9th is Kieran, 10th Dan the Man, then we've got Mr. Giapelli in 11th, Jack Pearson in 12th, Wet Lemons in 13th, Phil Bardrell DNF in 14th, Alistair DNF 15th, Matt Tibos DNF 16th, and Court DNF in 17th. So, Jack, any final thoughts on those 2 races since you've seen both of them?
Well, it was great. Hungary was such an entertaining race. So was Spa, but obviously Confessor obviously getting the win. He is very in P4 as well. Spa, he's going to be happy. But Kieran down in P9. He's going to be so gutted not getting the maximum points he could have over Jack Hickey tonight. And hopefully for him, it won't be very Malaysia 2016 for his title hopes. He'll be hoping to close the gap next week.
Yeah, and Dom, any thoughts, comments, and concerns on those two races tonight?
Absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? That Belgian race was just spectacular. Hungary had lots of thrills too, and yeah, I'm already looking forward to next week. Netherlands and Italy, and I'm also looking forward to tomorrow, and there's a very important title battle that needs to resume in CGP2 between myself and you.
Yeah, this very
and John Menzies, of course.
Yes, an interesting title battle. Two of the commentators tonight for the Belgian Grand Prix in TGP1 are also battling for the title in TGP2. Kind of a weird circumstance, but that's how it goes in league racing. But those were your two races tonight. We had Hungary and we had Belgium. Two very exciting races, especially Belgium, enthralling from start to finish. And we'll be here next time out with... Dom, what tracks have we got next week?
Netherlands and Italy next week.
Oh, Netherlands and Italy. So, Netherlands is going to be very interesting to see. And Court will be hoping for a strong performance there as a Dutch driver. And the Ferrari drivers in the field will be hoping for a strong performance in Italy in front of the Tifosi. But those have been the two races tonight in TGP1. Hopefully you did enjoy them, and we will see you next time out for Netherlands and Italy. But thank you for watching, and we will see you on PS5.